Occurred the 4th of July 2012, 2100 location, Mooresville, in shape, light duration, 2 minutes pinkish orange small lights, 8 to 9 of them, in odd formation over Mooresville, Indiana. This event was already going on as we walked into the backyard, driveway area. I looked up and saw about 8 or 9 lights that were pinkish orange in a formation just above the lowest clouds. They were high enough that I thought they might be airplanes, but airplanes would never fly that close together. There were about 4 or 5 on the left in a long formation, then on the right about 3 together and 2 more a little lower down. I listened to try and hear engine noises, but there were none. I tried to get my camera out, but seeing this disturbed me and I was kind of frozen and scared at the same time. They began moving as a group and went behind the low clouds and could not be seen anymore. Mooresville is near the Indianapolis airport, and I have seen and heard planes for many, many years, and this was not anything I've ever seen. In thinking about this, the lights could not have come from the ground up, because lights from the ground would not be able to disappear behind clouds from above like they did. The lights were not large, they were like pinpoints.
Occurred the 6th of July 2014, 23:24 location, Mooresville, in shape, light duration. 1 minute I observed 3 orange lights moving northwest, then saw another 5 to 6 move from behind trees following a similar flight path. We are in the flight path for Indianapolis International. These objects would have been in the airspace of the airport, and possibly in the flight path depending on the active runways. They were about 2,000 feet AGL, estimate speed at 100 to 120 knots, steady, and made no sound whatsoever.
Occurred October 31st, 2014, 2000 location, Mooresville, in shape, light duration, 3 seconds of fast round bright light I observed with a family member a bright object in the sky. We were sitting by our front living room window waiting for trick-or-treaters when we both saw a bright light fly by. It was in the form of a sparkling round light with the color of orange and white. It was considerably low in the sky just above the tree line, much lower than any commercial airline. It also moved considerably fast, too fast for any airplane. It flew by in a matter of 3 seconds or less. No sound was made, nor were there any vibrations to our home. We have seen several falling stars before, but this was so low in altitude during a cloudy, snowy night we determined it had to be something else. It did not seem to burn out but continue on its path, making a small change in direction.
Occurred March 29, 2020, 21:44 location, Mooresville, in shape, light duration, 6 minutes lights following each other one after the other same distance apart very slowly with no sound. 8 in total.
Occurred the 2nd of September 2020, 22:30 location, Mooresville, in shape, circle duration, 30 minutes characteristics. There were lights on the object made a sound. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object. On the night of September 2nd, 2020, around 10:30 p.m., my boyfriend and I were sitting on our front porch smoking a cigarette. We were facing east and I had a view of a clearing between a horizon of trees. The weather was clear skies and comfortable. I saw a yellow-orange orb in the clearing, off in the distance, traveling south to north. It did not seem to be moving very fast horizontally, about the speed of a plane, but it was zigzagging vertically fairly fast. Almost like it was bobbing back and forth. It also seemed to get brighter and dimmer as it moved. I stared at it for a few seconds and then told my boyfriend to come and look. I walked into the front yard to get a better look, and by the time he got to where he could see it, it was gone. Approximately 10 to 15 seconds total to cross the clearing and go behind more trees. I told him what I saw and he joked with me that I was making it up. We went back and sat down on the porch for a few minutes before I saw another yellow-orange orb following the same path as the previous one. This one was a bit smaller, about half the size as the first. This one did not seem to be zigzagging but was slowly flashing like the first one. Also, it was traveling in more of a slight arc, or uphill angle than a straight line. I went back into the yard and my boyfriend quickly followed. Just as I looked back into the sky, there was a third yellow-orange orb of light with the same characteristics as the second one. It was following the second one but was traveling lower. These two were moving just slightly faster than the first one and were not as bright. We went back and sat on the porch and talked about what we saw. Not long after that, we started noticing there was a lot of air traffic above us. We live near an airport, so it's not unusual to hear and see planes, but they typically follow the same path each time, just a hair west of our home. We saw planes in every direction for probably 20 minutes, including a couple helicopters. The first 5 minutes it was like they were coming and going from all directions. It almost seemed dangerous. We saw at least 10 planes in that 5 minutes. Then we could tell a few of them started just going in circles, ovals. There was one to the south that seemed to be moving fast and in tight ovals. It looked like a plane, but I'm not sure if a commercial plane could turn that fast. It could have been a helicopter. After the initial 5 minutes of chaos, there was a loud roaring that sounded like it was right over our house. It was louder than any plane we've ever heard go past in the 6 years we've been here. It sounded exactly how you would think a flying saucer would sound when it's hovering over you and about to abduct you. You could feel a vibration in the air and in your body. It lasted around 5 seconds. I ran out in front of the house as soon as it stopped and saw a normal-looking plane following the normal path to the airport. It was just very odd. Everything just died down after that and there was no air traffic.
Occurred the 12th of March 1976, 2300 location, Monrovia, in shape, triangle duration, 20 minutes characteristics. There were lights on the object. The object emitted beams after being followed by a UFO. A beam of light shone down on my sister. This story is not my own but belongs to my sister. I have wanted her to relate this story for a long time, but she does not have access to the net. In the winter of '76, her and her girlfriend were coming home from a meeting and were driving on a lonely country road when her friend said, "Look at that helicopter." My sister said, "That is no helicopter," and she asked her friend to stop the car. Her friend freaked out and floored the gas pedal. The bright triangle object followed them to my sister's lonely farmhouse and was over the barn when they pulled into the drive. My sister got out of the car and the object slowly moved above her. It did not make a sound. Her friend was hysterical and began to yell for my sister's boyfriend to come outside. The object was directly over my sister, and she looked up and saw a triangle shape at treetop level. A beam of light shone down on her and she looked down because she was afraid it would hurt her eyes. At her feet was a cat and the beam broke and also shone on the cat. By this time her boyfriend was at the door, and when he slammed the screen door the light went out. The object moved off through the cornfields, and when it was far away a bunch of lights that were thought, at the time, to be stars fell to link up to it. I know this sounds crazy, but she cannot tell this without tears in her eyes and getting all shaky. We knew nothing about abductions at the time, so we know of no missing time.
Occurred the 5th of October 2014, 2100 location, Monrovia, in shape, circle duration, 5 minutes 2 orange circles, traveling west off of State Roads 42 and 39. 2 orange circles not very high in the sky and no noise. Just southeast of Monrovia, on State Road 42 and 39. Traveling west at a slow speed.
Occurred October 15, 1966, 1830 location, Martinsville, in shape, disk duration, 1 minute characteristics. There were lights on the object. Craft hovered about 20 feet above barn. Lights in horizontal orientation for about 30 seconds and then darted away. Others saw. October 1965. My family lived in rural Morgan County, Indiana, about 20 miles south of Indianapolis. In those days, there were few outdoor security lights. My family was getting ready to attend a National Honor Society induction for my older sister. I was standing in the living room of our home and looking north through a large sliding glass door. It was dark outside. My father was a farmer, but he had received his wings from the US Navy during World War II. He had done quite a bit of night flying and was trained in night flying by using the constellations. He was somewhat interested in the reports that pilots would see unusual objects, but he wasn't a nut. He spent many hours alone on the tractor, cultivating soybean fields at night. The evening of my UFO sighting, my father was taking a bath. I saw what at first looked like a large airliner over our neighbor's barn, but the airplane didn't move or appear to get closer and larger. There were white lights that looked like windows of the plane, but the plane would have been way too low to be on approach to the Indianapolis-Weircook Airport. The airport is located about 20 miles to the northwest of my parents' farm. When I realized that this was not a jet, I shouted, "Daddy, come quick! It's a UFO! It's a UFO!" There had been several sightings around Indianapolis during the summer of 1965. My father came running, with just a towel on. The whole family tried to see the object, but it darted quickly to the west and disappeared. I was the only person who really saw the object. When we got to the high school, I was still rattled. Then some of the other students said that the radio had reported that people saw a UFO over Southern Plaza, a shopping center located near US 31 on the south side of Indianapolis.